Alright guys, bladsy 83 tot 85. I'm just going to explain this part here first and then we will read the rest. So like we said, Elias is going to cut Nina's hair. So while Christoffel is giving the knife, Elias then grabs bundles of Nina's hair and starts to cut it off. Lights go off. The lights go on again. We are at Fiela's house. Kitty sit by die tafel en soek iets in die Bybel. David en Tolly en Celine kyk toe. So we're at Fiela's house and Fiela is asking Kitty to look something up in the Bible. Tolly and David and Celine are just looking at this whole situation. Goed. So Fiela sê, soek Kitty, soek. Ek wil weet waar dit staan van die twee vroue wat oor een kind gestry het. Ek het die hele Bybel al deur gesoek, maar ek kry dit nie. Celine, ek gaan vir jou een vraag vandag vra. En jy moet vir my 'n klare antwoord gee. Nie 'n halwe een nie. Wat wil jy vra, Fiela? Glo jy dat 'n kind van 3 jaar oud agteruit die bos tot hier kon gedwaal het? Glo jy dit voor die Here? Nee, Fiela, ek glo dit nie. Maar ek het jou gesê ek wil 'n klaar antwoord hê, nie een met 'n maar of 'n ding agterna nie. Dan is my antwoord nee. Nee, kind van 3 nie. Tensy Celine. Nee, Fiela. Nee, kind van 3 nie. As ek reg onthou staan dit ergens in Konings. Salomo het gesê hulle moet die kind deursny en aan elke vrou 'n helfte gee. Petrus Sondag kan vir ons uitvind waar die kind is. Dis nie nodig nie, ek sal self gaan uitvind. Hoe? Die Here sal uitwys. Daar is 'n ding wat my vandag in die volstryskamp bygeval het en waarmee ek moet terug na toe, magistraat toe. Wat 'n ding? Moenie nou vra nie, Celine. Gee my kans en ek sal vir jou die antwoord daarop gaan haal. En vir al wat jy weet, bring ek Benjamin nog sommer saam terug. En want hierdie keer gaan ek om die magistraat van aangesig tot aangesig te sien. Okay, we're not going to do Toneel 6 now. We're just going to finish with Toneel 5 and then in the next video we'll do Toneel 6. Okay, good. So Fiela, like we said, is asking Kitty to look for something in the Bible. Especially, this is now the part where the two women were arguing about one child. Remember, in Salomo, or in Konings, like Fiela now said there, it was explained that two women were fighting about a child because one woman's child died, and the other woman then took the child of another. And when the woman woke up, she said, but this is my child, and there was argument, and King Solomon then said they will have to then cut the child in half, and then each woman would get half, and then the real mother said, but this is no, it's fine, rather give her the child, and he knew this is obviously the real mother. Good. So Kitty is complaining that she's looked everywhere and she can't find it. Then Fiela turns to Celine. Now, up to this point in the story, we haven't really seen that much of Celine. We know that he is much older than Fiela. We know that he is all weak and feeble and frail and all of those things. But we don't really know that much about him. Now, something very interesting about Fiela is even though she's a very strong, very independent, very much a leader in the story, she actually relies quite a lot on Celine, and especially Celine's wisdom and knowledge. Okay, because Celine isn't like Fiela. He's quiet and he's a thinker. He really does think things over. Think back to where Fiela was giving Benjamin a bath in Act 1, Scene 4. He came in and he sat and he listened to everything that Fiela was telling the child, and then only at the end he said, wouldn't it be better if he does this rather than that? Or says, wel eerder hier instead of just my here. And then Fiela thought about it and was like, oh, that makes sense. So now again, Fiela is going to Celine because she knows that he had time to think about this whole thing now. So she goes back to him and says, I'm going to ask you this question. And she says, ek soek 'n klaar antwoord. In other words, I want a fully formulated answer, not a yes maybe or a yes but or anything like that, just a yes or a no. And then he says, what do you want to ask? And she says, do you believe that a child of 3 years old will make it all the way from the forest to here? Do you believe it in front of God? Meaning, she wants his opinion as well, because she hasn't really gotten his opinion on this yet. And she knows that if he says that it's possible, then she won't really have anything to stand on. But if he agrees with her, then she knows that she's on the right track. So Seling then sits back and he says, no, Fiela, I don't believe it. And then he starts with the but. So he wants to reason on ways, which means he could have said something like, I don't believe it, but maybe he didn't make it there alone. Maybe someone brought him from there. Maybe he was being brought by someone from somewhere, or maybe his parents were traveling through here, or something like that. Then Fiela goes on and says, I told you I wanted a finished answer, not something with a maar afterwards. Then Seling again says, then my answer is no, not a child of 3, unless. So again, we are seeing here Seling's logic at work. He knows that a child of 3 would not make it from there, but obviously he doesn't think that Benjamin is someone's child that lives in the area. So he has to come from somewhere, and Seling is trying to get that message across to Fiela, but she does not want to listen to that. But we will get back to that part and that part when we get to Act 3. Goed. Finally he says, not a child of 3. Then Fiela continues with the story of Solomon and where they can find it. Seling talks then about Pietresondag. Now this is the second time that we've spoken about Pietresondag. The first time was in Act 1, Scene 2, when the census manne arrived and asked, why didn't Fiela take the child to the magistrate, or Pietresondag, or whatever the case might be. So he is a knowledgeable man, and obviously having high standing with the government of the time, he would obviously be able to find out where Benjamin is. Fiela says it's not necessary, she's going to find out herself. What is the only way in which Fiela will be able to find out herself? The only way she would be able to find out herself is if she goes back to the magistrate now. So Fiela here again showing her religion, showing her belief in God, says, Die Here sal uitwys. In other words, God will show me the way in which to find out where the child is. Okay? Something came up to me in the ostrich camp, and I need to go back to Knysna. So she knows that God will help her in this mission of hers to find her son, and she needs to go back to Knysna to sort this out. Then Seling wants to know what was she thinking about, and Fiela says, don't ask me now, give me a chance and I will give you an answer to that, and maybe I will bring Benjamin back. So Fiela is very sure about her case here, saying that when she goes back to Knysna, the magistrate will listen to her. There is no two ways about that. He will listen to her, and she will have a proper answer for him by the end of the visit. Okay, and that's then the end of Act 5. So Act 6, we are going back into Knysna, but like I said, we will explain that in a later stage.